losers, they don't take accountability for their actions. They don't take accountability that they are the ones that lost. And winners come in and they're like, okay, I know that if I put everything into this, even if I were to lose, I gave my best, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Today, I bring you a man who is known for several accomplishments in this industry, some of which include writing over $100,000 of life insurance in a single month, growing a YouTube channel to nearly 3.5 thousand subscribers, scaling his own insurance agency to over $45,000 in monthly commissions, and most recently, growing a coaching business that has served hundreds of agents, including myself. All of this in only 2 years. Yes, that's right. We have him, Johnny Native Fan.
The situation you're in right now and the circumstances you have is because the person that you are has attracted that.
Fan, what's up, man?
Dang, bro. What an intro. I hope to live up to that intro, dude. It's crazy what you can actually accomplish in 2 years, dude. It's definitely a lot for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to start off with an exercise here just to kind of walk people through your journey in the last 2 years, because obviously you've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of look at it through a different lens. So walk me through it. You got into the industry a bit over 2 years ago. What did you expect your first 6 months in this industry to look like? And what did they actually look like?
Dude, this is such a good question. I've never been asked this, but the reality is you come into the industry, and I don't know if you guys are new or like listening, or if you guys have been in the industry for a little bit now, but you and I both know, dude, it's you come into the industry and you think you're like you found that one of the most lucrative industries out there. You find this spot where it's like, dude, I'm glad more people didn't find out about this, because there's so much money to be made. And all the other things that I've done in my past, I know why they didn't work, because they weren't this easy. And so you come into the industry and you're like, dude, this is what I'm primed to be. I don't really like truly have to do the hustle and grind like a business owner. All I have to do is just come in, sell insurance, make money, live everywhere, travel anywhere. I remember, and this is like a very accurate description of what I was thinking of my first few months in the industry would be, right? I remember going to my wife in January of 2021, and I was actually working an insurance sales job at this time, making $2,500 base pay plus 15% commission. But honestly, the commissions were absolutely horrible. That I think I got paid on like $500 on the full 4 months of total commissions that I did. So 2,500 plus the base pay. All that to say, I'm in this for 2.5 months into the industry. I go to her because I'm listening to all these podcasts of people saying, dude, I make $40,000 a month. I make $50,000 a month. I actually made $100,000 in 100 days. And I was like, if they can do this, and if I can 4X what I'm making now, or even 10X what I'm making now, literally doing the same exact work right now, or very similar, and just work as hard, will be really successful. So I was like, I went to her and I was like, I really want to do this. I want to quit this job and I want to go all into this, because we could literally live anywhere. We've been wanting to travel anywhere. We've been wanting to move to Florida. We were talking about it for a while. And I was like, this is the ticket. This is the way that we're able to go to Florida finally, right? We're able to live wherever, we're able to travel. And all that to say, like, she's like, do you even hear yourself right now? I was like, what's up? And she's like, it literally sounds like a pyramid scheme. And I was like, it definitely is not. And so I gave up hopes for a little bit. A few months later, in the meantime, I wasn't telling her straight up, but I was actually like going and like all these people that were interviewing, and I was watching all these interviews. I would call them up, or I'd like find their number somehow, some way. I'd find their DMs and I would start DMing them. And I actually interviewed like 6 different IMOs, agencies, and agency owners. And I'm like, they all checked out to say the same exact thing. So I was like, it's got to be true. There's no way that they have very similar stories with me doing this. So what I ended up doing was I went with somebody and he's like, dude, I made $40,000 my very first month. So I was like, dude, if you did it, you literally like almost went broke and now you're making a ton of money. I know I could do it too. Just tell me exactly what to follow and I'll do that. And so I do that. Very first day, no hesitations, $900 on leads. Didn't work out. A few days later, bought another $900 on leads. I'm like, I just suck right now. I just need to be able to get more experience. Boom, boom, boom. I actually quit the other job. But I went into this full time. I was like, dude, I could definitely make way more than I was making before. So I just kept buying these leads. First 3 weeks, spent like $3,500 in leads and didn't make a sale, which was really, really, really frustrating. But I was like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I never had a credit card before, got a credit card. It had a $5,000 limit on it. I put $3,500 on that card. And that was kind of the start of a harsh reality that happened in that first 6 months. So I definitely thought I was going to be making at least $10,000 a month, maybe 20, 30, $40,000. I was definitely hopeful. But then when you get hit with the reality of the emails or mail of your credit card being due and you don't have cash in the bank and you don't have money to be able to pay that, that's really where expectations versus reality really kick in. And I think it's a very accurate description of what insurance agents are consistently facing on a day-to-day basis. Like, you come in, it's marketed as a remote sales job. The reality is you have to be a business owner. You have to understand how to market. You have to understand how to sell. You have to understand numbers. You have to track your numbers on a day-to-day basis to be able to actually make the money that you want to make. But we're like, it's marketed so weirdly that the expectations are way, way off of what you like, what reality actually looks like in this industry.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's something that we all experience in our first 6 months. I know I did as well, not to that level of extremity, but I also had a pretty difficult first couple months. I didn't take on as much risk as you did, so I didn't get myself into that type of hole. But it was certainly tough, and I think a lot of it kind of comes down to the way we're recruited into this industry. But regardless,
Yeah.
some people fall off very quickly, and some people kind of push through that. So obviously, your first 6 months were super difficult, but you kept at it. You didn't just quit.
Yep.
What did, and you've been in here for over 2 years now. What did months 6 through 24 look like?
It's a great question. It definitely changed. It definitely, month like 9 was definitely the value of despair, because I remember, um, I've talked about this a little bit, but it's hard to even like share. But what happened was, end of the year is kind of coming up. We're maybe a week or two out from the end of the year, going into then it was 2023, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was end of 2022 going into 2023, and my wife comes, she's like, this is after I was on a reality TV show. This is after I started making some YouTube videos documenting a little bit, but it wasn't like full on. And she's like, I might be smart to like maybe get a part-time job, and maybe that could pay for your leads. And I like laughed at her because I'm like, a little bit, right? Like, it was this like gut punch of like, dude, this like sucks. Cause you like, I'm on top of the leaderboards. I remember literally earlier that morning or the morning before, I was on a group call with like 150 agents talking about like how a new agent could get started in the industry. Like, it's just so weird. And so I remember that feeling of like, if I get a part-time job and I have to like tell people that, then they're just going to realize that like this is all kind of like a facade in a way. Like, oh, if it's working so well, dude, why are you working a part-time job? Why are you working at Starbucks still, right? So it was just this weird phase of going in. And so it definitely got hard. Like, it got harder before it got easier. The thing that I realized is that I was I was breaking even on leads that were $45. So I'm like, dude, if I could get these leads at like $15 a piece, I know I'll win, because I know how to close. And like, I think that's the thing, that even in those 9 months, I actually don't regret those times, because I learned how to close. Like, I knew that if I got somebody on the phone, I knew that I was getting off the phone with an application. And so that's what I did really well. But I think what happens is, a lot of people come in and they think it's the leads. I never really blamed the leads. I always took full responsibility that it was me. I never knew there was another way to be able to do that. I always have these limiting beliefs that I didn't know and I couldn't market. And so what happened was, I already did 300,000 of written premium in my first 9 months. I knew how to sell like that. The proof was there. It was I'm undeniable in the fact that like, I know how to sell. I actually just need better leads, or at least lower cost leads that aren't $45, that I'm not having to pay $2,500 a week for, that I can just rinse and repeat this. So what I ended up doing was learning and going deep into Facebook marketing. And at this time, I didn't have it. Like, I had the credit cards. I had a few, like a little limit on the credit cards. I maybe had like $1,000 in my business checking at this time. And I was like, I'm going to run this card and run the ads, and I'm going to figure this marketing stuff out on my own. And so I remember I didn't even have a CRM at this time. I didn't even I had a Zapier automations. Looked up videos, had a Zapier automation. Every time there would be a lead come in, I would just call them as many times as humanly possible. And I remember my first policy that I sold was a guaranteed issue policy. It wasn't even that good, but it was a proof of concept that I spent $150 or $200 to be able to do this. If I do this once, I know I can do this multiple times over and over and over again. And I have way more volume now. I had like 25 leads at that time that I only sold one, and I had so many people to talk to. So I knew that with going with the things that I did learn, even though I didn't have anything to show for it, the credit cards didn't show that I actually built a skill that is invaluable, that if I paired a little bit with marketing, it could literally put fuel on the fire that would spark my a new awakening in the industry. And so that was 9 months in. Fast forward to then, literally I had $15,000 in debt. First 3 weeks of generating my own leads, actually turning on ads to I actually made $25,000 of net, actual commission, spent $2,200 to actually do that, paid off all my credit card debt. And then in that time, I was able to just keep doing that over and over and over again, scaled way faster. My Facebook at that time in those 3 weeks, I only could spend $50 a day. I was capped. So I couldn't even scale it, even though I wanted to. And I wanted to scale $75, $100, $200 a day, but I couldn't. So then I was finally able to scale it to 150, and then I scaled it to 200. And then I trained Austin at this time right after I made $22,000 and left everybody. I told him, I was like, dude, I think I figured something out. You should come in and try it out. Boom. He does $25,000 of issued business. His little first 30 days, him and I on Zoom together every single day, me giving him, leads that I called 3 times and just passed them on because I had so many coming in. 20,000 again. Then I hit $42,000 in commissions. Then it was 20, 15, 20, 20, 20. And then I ended up doing $73,000 in a 60-day span. So it was a consistent, it got better over time. The thing that in that whole process is that it looks good, but it definitely I definitely got shiny object syndrome along the way. I wanted to start a CRM at one point. I'm going all into SaaS. Okay, I'm going to go all in recruiting. I recruited 70 people in 1 month. And so that was a whole headache and nightmare. It took away from my production. And then I was like, okay, I know how to market. I'm going to just train people. I'm going to do a free lead program. But then I hired 15 people at once, takes away from my production again. So I think it's just if you really want to be successful, what I've learned is once you have something that works, double, triple down on that as much as you humanly can, and pretty much bring somebody on and just run together with them, and don't go into trying to build a whole nother skill. What I did was I figured out how to sell, I learned how to market, and then I had these 2 skills parallel together that really helped me make money. But then I added on the sales management skill at the same exact time. Hiring 15 people, that's a full-time job in itself. I couldn't even sell anymore. And I didn't even have a good hiring process, an interview process. That's a whole other skill. So if I would have gone back, I would have done that differently. But the next, I would say after the first 9 months, 12 months, 15, 24 months, honestly, those are the hardest. I went through 5 or 6 different, I don't even know at this point, 5 or 6 different IMOs in my first year. So I definitely have been around the industry transparently. But it now it's valuable because I can literally tell any agent, dude, half of the time I've been at that agency and the other half I know people at those agencies. So I've been able to take it because I didn't quit. I've been able to take all those experiences that people were just talking negatively about me and still do to this day. I've been able to shift it and be like, dude, I'm actually able to help a ton of people with this. Now I'm able to give really good advice, non-biased, and be like, here's the pros and cons. Do you want to go out and recruit? Do you want to go out and start at a low comp with better leads? Do you want what do you want? And then I can actually give that. And now it's valuable because I have those experiences.
Absolutely. So kind of to recap that, you made a transition early on after about 6 months, which is actually the same reason why I came to you to start working with you in your coaching business, is because I could tell that I needed to make that transition from just being a salesperson that was put on a system that you had no control over to actually being a business owner where you controlled and owned those systems and could make changes very quickly and actually control every single part of the process, from the marketing to the leads to the sales to the fulfillment to the recruiting, whatever it may be. You made that transition, which really allowed you to help scale that business. And I think that's a transition that's almost mandatory for an agent to make these days if they actually want to be successful at a quicker rate,
Yep.
opposed to just being a salesperson that's placed into a system that they don't really know much about. So that's really cool. Now, on top of that, you've been in the business for a bit over 2 years now. You've built a coaching business. You're working with you're speaking with hundreds, if not thousands, of agents through the DMs or within your coaching program on a daily basis. You probably have a better bird's eye view into this business than anybody else I know. So that being said, what are some things that you're seeing in newer agents in this business that are allowing them to be successful and actually like differentiate themselves just from like an average ordinary agent who fails out after 6 months?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually a realization that I've had recently because I'm like, there's people who are clear winners. Like you came into something that like a coaching business that like I had that like you distinguish yourself as a clear winner. You are a great salesman. You take things and you learn really well. You learn fast. You implement well. You're very coachable, right? Like I was trying to figure out like how do I mean, I honestly like how do I get like 1,000 of like chases, right? But like what are the actual characteristics of like a somebody that comes in and actually executes, and I give the same information, same coaching, same training to somebody else, and they do nothing with it. They actually just like ghost and just don't ever respond to me ever again. And they actually go out and maybe get a new job, maybe niche hop, whatever they do. Like what is his prime difference? And I think I would say transparently, the biggest thing that I think is different is self accountability, is looking inward. I think the people who win and the people who lose, the losers, what they do, and if you're like this, hey, I've been like this too. But losers, they don't take accountability for their actions. They don't take accountability that they are the ones that lost. They don't take accountability for whatever. So they come in and they're like, the leads suck. I'm not getting the training. I'm not getting the mentorship. My comp sucks. Like this niche is saturated. There's so many different things. Like I don't have the AI dialer. I don't have like XYZ, whatever. I don't have the cash flow. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. Like, I don't, whatever it is, right? Like, I don't have the skills to be able to do it. And winners come in and they're like, okay, here's what I do have. I know that I have won before. I know that I can win. I know that I know that if I put everything into this, at the end of the day, even if I were to lose, I gave my best. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. And it's not the mentor, it's not the coach, it's not the upline, it's not the leads, it's not the CRM, it's whatever it is. It's like, okay, cool. How do I fix it? What do I need to do? How do I like prevent this from happening again? Okay, this is a learning experience. And so there's two different frames of mind of somebody that's super self accountable, somebody who actually takes ownership that they are in the spot because of themselves. I like when I was in $15,000 in debt, I remember thinking like, woe is me, like, dude, this sucks. This is like, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this, whatever. And I remember listening to this Joe Rogan, no, not Joe Rogan, it was Jim Rohn, and he was talking, and he's like in the way he says it, but he's like, like I don't remember exactly word for word, but I remember him saying, you're like the situation you're in right now and the circumstances you have is because the person that you are has attracted that. So think about where you are right now, whether you have money in the bank, whether you don't, whether you're making the money that you want to make or you don't, whether you live the life you want to live or you don't, whether you have the body you want or you don't, whatever it is, look at it unemotionally and be like, this is the person that I have been, and this is who I've been, like who I've attracted, right? Do you have the friend group? The friend group that you have, the people you hang out around, are those the people that you want to be like? If not, those people have been attracted because of the person you are. So with all that being said, I remember being like, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Like this business is my business. I am the one that got us here. I am the one that made the mistakes over the course of time. And I'm the one that is going to be able to get us out. And that's what happened. When I took the blame from like pointing the four fingers, the one finger out, that I realized that the four fingers were actually pointing in. That's when I really was able to take extreme ownership. And dude, like that's when my business actually took off, because I was like, every little thing, I'm not blaming anybody else. It's not anybody's fault but mine. And that's all I kept thinking about on a day-to-day basis. If I can get 1% better, if I can consistently get better on the things that I personally can execute on and can control, that's all I'm going to focus on. And that's all I'm going to go deep into. And agents that are watching this, if you really want to be successful, stop looking at the one finger out and look at the four fingers that are pointing inwards.
Yeah, that's really good. And that's actually like that's the exact same reason why I started completely tracking every single metric in my business, because
Yeah.
metrics just don't lie to you. If you are tracking consistently on a daily basis how many DAOs you made, how many presentations you ran, how many sales you made, how much time you're just talking on the phone, it's
Yeah.
very revealing very quickly if the problem is you or something else. And almost every single time I see an agent struggling, actually, I can confidently say this, every single time I see an agent struggling, it's not because of something else. It's literally just because they are not consistently putting in the work over a long period of time. And tracking your metrics makes that very clear. So that's good. One thing that you mentioned earlier on in this, which I want to touch on a bit, is limiting beliefs. And this is
Yep.
a lot of people, almost everybody has limiting beliefs, especially at some point in their lifetime.
Yep.
When I met you, I realized very quickly you're pretty unique. Your limiting beliefs are kind of non-existent. I've really learned a lot about you look at things at a bigger scale, and I'm sure it wasn't always like that. And that's like a point that I'm consistently trying to get myself to, but it's pretty impressive. What did that process look like of like not really being confident in yourself to basically having no limiting beliefs at all and scaling things to a pretty tremendous size very quickly?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, to be honest, it's not like a one thing actually happened that was like, oh, now my limiting beliefs are off. It's consistently like evaluating. Like Alex Hormozy says something really interesting, and he says the beliefs that we truly hold on to, those we don't even think to question. And so there's certain things that like in your life, like you guys watching and listening to this, there's certain things that you hold so tightly that you don't even know, and you're like, this is so true, and you don't let go of it. And it's like those that's a scary spot to be in, of like, hey, I'm gonna be stuck at this. I just got off a coaching call right now, and I was like, okay, you're working part-time, which is awesome, and you're wanting to really make this business work. What's the jump point? Like, what do you need to get to? And it was like $2,500 a month. And I was like, okay, cool. It is what it is. Everybody's got their spot, but I'm like, why? I guess, have you never thought about what your number needs to be? Like, I always ask people that are part time, like, what's your number? Like, if you don't have your number, that you're like your jump number, you're never going to do it. You're always going to be stuck. There's always going to be something that is going to get in your way. But if you make an unemotional decision and make it logically and say, hey, when I get to the spot of making $10,000 a month or 8,000 or 5,000, or in her case, realistically 2,000, but we'll say 2,500. When you get to that spot, just jump, right? And so I don't think that it really wasn't one thing, but it's a consistent thing. And one thing that I can 100% say with 100% certainty is every single time that I invested in myself to get in rooms that I felt uncomfortable in, felt like the least in, those were always the rooms that always expanded my mind. Like, I always have to be investing into myself monetarily, with time, with focus, whatever it is, to be able to get into rooms that are just way bigger than like my imagination. So I'll give you an example. First things first, I got into the industry. I was 3 weeks in, and I never spent $2,500 ever in my life. And I remember getting on the phone with an industry leader that you and I both know, and it was like, okay, he hosts an event, and he's like, dude, you need to get into the room. Like, you need to, bro. And I'm like, dang. So he closed me, and that was like a biggest investment ever. And I just got married. It probably wasn't the most wise thing to just like pull the trigger, not even talk to my wife. Like, we've never made decisions over like maybe like $50 or $100. And so like $2,500, like, talk about, like, it was just that was a conversation that was not fun. Anyways, but like I did it, right? And I was like, I did it because I knew that on the other side of that pain, there's an you like Ed Milet says that on the other side of pain, you meet a new version of yourself. And so like in that time, I was like, I don't have the money right now, but this is gonna force me, like the thoughts that I have in my mind, the things that I actually dream and think about, the faster you put money and energy and time towards it, the faster that it actually cements into reality. And so like if you guys have a thought, if you guys are wanting to finally take that risk and you finally make a decision to put money towards it, you have to like double down. You have to put action towards it. The faster you do that, I was able to move it. I move at such a fast speed and I'm able to implement things like crazy fast and scale really quick in business wise, because once I have a thought that I know that it's backed up by logic, I move with unextreme like with extreme execution and certainty, because I either win or I learn. That's really what it comes down to. So I remember getting into that room and other rooms alongside that, and just being able to get my mind expanded on like the crazy thing is, if you guys are not in like super deep in the industry, you're really a few like one, maybe two, maybe three paywalls away from getting into like the serious rooms. Like honestly, like a lot of it's just you can get through them with paywalls. Very rarely are they like invite only. You can pay with it. And so I think getting into those rooms of people making 5 million, 10 million dollars a year, that's really what helped me. Like being able to actually talk to them, look at them, touch them, like really like being able to like ask like, okay, with your situation, you were here, what do I need, like what am I missing right now, like what am I missing out on? Like I remember paying, I've paid this guy like maybe $10,000. He's 21 years old. I mean, he started making $1 million when he was 20, right? $1 million a year. And I'm like, I just need to pay you, because yeah, you might know the tactics, but I just need to surround myself with people like you, because people who are paying you probably have the same circle. Like it's a circle that, and everybody runs in the world is small. Everybody like you're 1 degree from knowing like somebody huge. And so like knowing him, it's like, okay, I get access to him, but then I get this huge network. Now I have friends that are like, I have like like over, I can't even count them on my 10 fingers, that like they're all making $1 million a year. So it's like, if they can do it, I can do it. And so I think it's not just one thing, it's just multiple things that I just keep doing over time. Like now I just paid this guy that is a big like media guy. Like now I'm paying him like $400 a week to be able to coach me one-on-one, to be able to really like scale my brand. Right. So I think at each level, like him, he interviewed Patrick Bet David. He's interviewed the Alex Hormozis of the world. He's interviewed all these people, and like there's an opportunity that just opened up, and you just get through that with pay a little bit in the grand scheme of things, and now you have insights into these big brands. I mean, he's consulted for Mr. Beast. Like talk about serious brands. Like he has like these interesting connections, and so like you can always find that. And so like even having that, like okay, he knows something I don't, so if I just implement what he's saying, I know I could get there at some point.
Yeah, I think it's important to be around people that are obviously doing what you're trying to do at a high clip. And
Yeah.
in insurance more than anything, just because when you get thrown into the insurance industry, you probably joined like a super large brokerage, and
Yep.
99% of the people around you are probably struggling really hard. There's only a
Yep.
few people that are actually crushing it, but they've probably built big agencies and they're on such a different level than you are that it's tough to kind of even understand what they're talking about. And that's a switch that I personally made by obviously joining your coaching program as well. It's just like you want to be around people that are consistently doing what you're trying to do, just because they're just going to accelerate your learning curve so fast. Like maybe I could have learned everything I know now without getting around the right people, but it would have taken years to figure all that out. And it would have been a very expensive couple of years by making all the hard mistakes to get there. So I completely agree with that. One thing I do want to pivot over to. So as you and I both know, this industry has a way of like developing you pretty quick. I mean, outside of insurance, for you specifically, you're a married man, you have a wife, you hit the gym every single day, you have a close relationship with God. All that being said, what are some lessons that you've taken from inside the insurance industry that you've actually been able to like apply to your personal life that's really just helped you develop outside of insurance? Because we're all learning lessons here, but It's not
Yeah.
just like we're not defined by insurance. We actually have things outside of insurance that probably matter to us a lot more. So what are some things that
Yeah.
you've learned from insurance that you've actually like integrated into your personal life and actually helped you grow outside of insurance?
I mean, there's a few things, right? Like we've already touched on some of them, right? Like being able to take full accountability of like where you're at. Be me going into insurance, like you have to realize that as a business owner, but then in my marriage, it's like for me to have a really great relationship, I have to take ownership and I have to take accountability. I can't focus on the way that she reacts. I have to focus on the way that I react and I share things and I communicate, right? And so I think like it's consistently doing that, but then also like the dream life that you want, the way that you get to that spot, and I don't think it's ever a spot that you actually get to where it's like, oh my gosh, now I'm at my dream life. It always evolves as you get more perspective. But I think what I've learned in insurance is that like the habits that you have are going to shape who you want. So you can backtrack into the life that you want if you backtrack into your habits. So like what are your habits on a day-to-day basis? I want to have a well-developed body to where I'm strong, right? To where it's like I'm able to be confident in that regard, where I'm able to eat well, where I'm able to like have the endurance that I need to be able to like in the longevity, right? And be able to do that. And so it's these little things that you pick up in insurance, but like these are just life lessons. Alex Hermosi says a really like cool thing that I really enjoy. And he's like, your work works on you more than you work on it. And the lesson in that is that the lesson is the journey. Like it's all a journey. Like it's the person that you're refined into on the way to be able to get to your goals. The goal is just there to be able to push you, to motivate you, inspire you, whatever you got to do. But in that time, like you're becoming a new person, right? So like for me in fitness, like I have to be disciplined to go to the gym because if I don't, then I'm not going to be able to have the body that I actually want. So it's being able to do that, looking at the habits internally, self accountability, showing up every day, thinking about the things that you actually can control rather than like what you can't control. I also think of there's so much that goes into this, but I think you can really accomplish like whatever you want, but you have to do it strategically and you have to really like figure it out. And what's cool is like everything is stuff that you can figure out. Like there's luck is not like like I don't believe in really truly believe in luck. Um one because like I know God kind of ordains certain things to happen, moments to happen in certain ways, but I also feel like I for a long like I just had a limiting belief broken. Like I thought YouTube was like luck. I thought YouTube was like if I like crack YouTube, like people are lucky. But then somebody posed this question to me. He's like, okay, if it is luck, cool. But say Mr. Beast loses a channel right away, loses name and likeness. Cool. Do you think he could get back to where he's at, or at least have a million subscribers and have a cult like fan base? Yes or no? And I was like, yes. So it's not luck. So I think I realized, and that was another thing that I was blaming the algorithm, blaming whatever, and I didn't take accountability that I just suck at YouTube. I posted 120 days straight, literally 4 months straight, and it's just because I make not great videos. My packaging is not good. My titles and thumbnails are not great. Like there's so much back end stuff that I need to work on, like and develop, and I don't have an eye to be able to actually see what I need to see. And so I think it's like you create your own luck. Like if you want to be good at something, you have to really just put all your energy and effort into that. And I think another thing is like if you want to be good at something, you can't be doing a lot of things because to make something exceptional, to make something great, to make the like I care so much about like the community, about like the product that I'm building inside, like building long lasting relationships outside of insurance. To be able to do that, I can't focus on anything else. Like I've been told multiple times, I just got off a call and this dude was like, I don't know, he's making like $30,000 a month or something with his stuff. And I was like, just picking his brain a little bit, just because I was curious of like his thoughts, because he had this hot take of like building a low ticket community to feed into your high ticket stuff. And I was like, I've just been so afraid to like do something else, even if it's like feeding into like what I'm doing, because to make something really good, to make it something exceptional, to make something where people refer other people, to make something to where people have a good, nothing but good things to say about something, you have to like have so much focus, so much energy. You have to solve problems, but not only solve problems, but like you have to solve the problems of the problems that you have based on the solution you give. So like if I help somebody generate leads, but they can't close, I have to solve the closing problem because they have the leads, but then it comes to me. So then it's like, okay, you got the leads, you got the sales ability, and I helped you with both of those. Now it's like, how do you keep these people on the books? Now you have to build out a whole like system on the back end. So then I solve a problem, then I solve the solution. Like then I solve a problem, like I give them the solution, but with the solution, there's more problems that come, and so it keeps going more and more and more. And the more actual solutions of the initial problem that you solve, the more that you're just going to get paid. And that's how a really good product is built. Like I got the lead gen side down, like that's easy, and I got the sales side down. Okay, so now what else is there? Okay, people start making money. Now what? You need a brand. Yeah, you like the next level is recruiting, to be able to recruit top talent, to be able to get whoever you want, to be able to get top producers like a Max or like a whoever, to get these top producers that are doing really well. How do you cut across the competition? How do you distinguish somebody that's they have unlimited options to work with any agency? Why would they specifically be begging to work at your door? Like, why would they beg to work with you? And it's branding. So like, let me solve the branding problem. Let me teach people how to build a personal brand. Let me teach people how to actually be able to literally create your niche of one, where people are like, I've been begging, like I'm begging to work with you. Please take me on. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll work 12 hours a day. I'll work underpaid, whatever it is that comes with brand. Right. And so it's like, there's levels to it. But if I was focused on building an insurance agency, if I was focused on trying to build real estate, if I was focused on all these other things, my focus would get scattered, and then the product just goes to trash. And then people wonder why they're not making money. It's because you didn't truly go all in to one thing and get exceptional at it. So if you're a final expense agent, become the master at final expense. If you're a telesales agent, focus on that. Like, don't focus on Zoom appointments. If you're a master in annuities, go deep in annuities. So like focus on one niche and go all into that, because once you get really good, the top like 10% take most of the business.
Yeah. That was the last point I was planning to bring up, because it's the thing that you and I have been talking about the most lately, is just having that laser focus. I meant to bring it up, but you kind of just hammered it out right there, so that's super good. It's something that personally I'm working on a lot right now. It's so easy to get
Yeah.
crazy shiny object syndrome in this industry, especially if you have like that entrepreneurial mind. There really is like opportunity all over the place, but if you try and get the opportunity all over the place, you kind of end up with like a bunch of nothing. So I
Yeah.
think that's like honestly like one of the most important lessons I've learned from you in the last couple of months. And it's something that I'm constantly working on, because being laser focused when there's things flashing at you from all corners is super, super difficult. But that's super good, man. Just to wrap this up, I mean, what's next for you over the next like 6 to 12 months? Like, what's your vision and kind of where are you headed?
Well, one thing is like you and I just met up in Arizona, which is really dope. And I'm like loving the stuff you're doing. I fully support you. Anything you need, like I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be able to help you. Anything personal brand, whatever it is, right? You know, I'm gonna be here for you. But I think like what's next is you coming to Arizona, 10 people coming in, like that opened my eyes to be like, dude, the in-person experience is just way better than what you could do over the camera. Like, and I really want to like build this into a movement where we just keep growing event after event, and just like keep building the in-persons, and just like focus on one specific thing, train on that, coach on that, bring in guest speakers, like really just build event to event, and really like just build a movement, right? Like my number one goal right now um is I want to like I have it on this whiteboard, is like I want to really just master YouTube, because YouTube is really like that's where it's at as far as like if you really want to build a long lasting brand. And so the way that I'm really going to go about branding is just in person, and just training and building like communities, right? And like a life insurance tight knit community where people in the industry, whether they're new or experienced or whatever, can come to in person, dial together, like really get training in depth. And so I really like it opened up my eyes because it's different when it's like when I got into coaching, I guess I never understood like when you coach somebody and you genuinely help somebody like change the trajectory of their life, like it's a very like I take a lot of I appreciate it. And like it's like a huge appreciation being in a room with all these people. Yeah, they paid into the program, but like it's bigger than that. It's like I want to help this person their life genuinely be changed, and with the transaction comes a transformation. And so like I want to go out and yeah, I want to make money, of course. Like I want to keep growing the brand, keep like building this, but I want it to be a community to where and I my camera just died. Um hold on. I want to like genuinely build this community to where there are tons and tons and tons of agents that come in, like just build a tight knit like family vibe, I guess, but like just a community where like people could come in, learn, get advice, take advice from veterans in the business, like how you're like learning a lot, your learnings. And I think creating a mastermind to where me like you I've taught you everything I know and I'm going to continue teaching you everything I know, but then like because based on what I know and what you have learned in your experiences, there's going to be new, fresh ideas that come. And that's what I'm excited about is like, you guys are getting to the level where you like, you know how to think for yourself and there's new and fresh ideas that come from that. And so like, as that continues to build and build and build to where all these people coming inside the community, they get to the spot where they're profitable. They can actually think on a longer time horizon. They can actually like think for themselves in a way and like ideate. We can all ideate and really like grow together. And people inside the community are definitely going to have an edge on people who are not. And so that's really like where my focus and attention is at, is like consistently like keeping attention, building the brand on YouTube, consistently like growing like this movement and community, and all coming into the coaching program. And that's it, man. I mean, that's really like my focus in the next like 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, I think you and I can both agree like this industry, it's not impossible, but it's a
Yeah.
bit broken. And
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's a serious need for agents to be able to figure out proper systems and proper training. And there's so much to learn. And the faster you can condense that learning curve, the better chance you're going to have of success, because a lot of people don't have the funds to be in this industry for 6 months. So being able to condense that learning curve as quickly as possible is huge. So super good stuff, man. That's going to wrap it up here. I don't really have many subscribers. I think I have like two. So there's not a lot of people watching this, but if anybody is watching this, where can they find you?
Yeah. Guys, subscribe to his channel, by the way. Follow me, Johnny Nitafan, as you guys see, JOHNNY, Nitafan, NITAFAN. YouTube, Instagram. Follow me behind the scenes throughout the day. And follow Chase on his journey as well, because we're doing something special inside the industry. We would hope and personally want to invite you guys to follow along with this, because this is just the start of something special. You guys are going to look back. You might be looking back at this in 5 years down the line, and it's just like Chase has more than two subscribers. But being able to like really get to the spot where we want to go.
Ready. Well, your camera is saying it's time to go. So thanks for coming on, Johnny. Peace.
Peace.